I kind of touched on this last video, but whenever I clean the smoker after a cook, come out and open everything up, all the vents, all the doors, open the stack fully. There's my nasty water pan from last time. I'll take that and just double line it, put it in the bag like it keeps making the trash can funky. Yeah, they ain't got to be perfect or nothing, but I just drop it in there. Just something to help contain it, and I set it down in the trash can kind of easy. The outside trash can, of course. I wouldn't take that mess in the house. Tell you, you get bombarded by these acorns out here. I got a bunch of oak trees in the yard. Bunch of big red oaks out here. Man, them things, they just rain down on me. I come out here and blow them off every couple days, and they just everywhere. They give you a pretty good thump if they fall and hit you on the head. In here, we look in through the top. Well, go around here. You can see I got some solid and a whole ton of ash in there from that 13-hour cook the other night. I'll get this thing out of here. Now, I've read some people will say don't reuse any kind of charcoal or anything. Let's say it could be stale, be nasty. All this is lump charcoal. Some of these leftover solids from the big pieces. I just put it back in there. I use it to start a fire with. I'm not going to be cooking with it, but I will start my fire with it. And I'll rake all this other stuff out here. Stick that in the, I got a little metal bucket here. That metal bucket I grabbed on Amazon. It comes with that little shovel, but I don't really use it for a lot. The Yoder Wichita comes with this handy little tool here. Fits right down in your firebox. Just pull that mess out of there. You don't want to leave this in there long. Usually about a day and a half, maybe 2 days tops, as long as I leave this stuff in there. Ash, it will attract a lot of moisture and end up getting some rust if you live in high humid area or you have a lot of rain. I know a lot of people's smokers look like death, but they cook just fine on the outside. I try to keep mine looking good, at least for a while. I'm sure eventually I'll get rust on it, and so be it. I can do this quicker with 2 hands, but I'm trying to take this video here. I have to empty that thing in a minute. And you empty these coals, you want to make sure they're out. Don't go dumping that in your trash can. It's just common sense. This bucket was half full. I can usually hold ashes from 2, maybe 3 cooks in there. But yeah, I let it sit in there with the lid on it for 3-4 days at least before I let it go in the trash can. Alright, so I went and dumped my bucket, put the rest of it in there. And I just kind of raked all the stuff forward, and then I'll skim across the top, rake some of the solids back in there, and get rid of the ash and some of that other stuff. I'll just kind of use that to help start a coal bed. I'll put some lump charcoal in there too. Some people say that'll spoil your cook. That's old, stale, nasty, burn up stuff. That's all lump charcoal is wood that's already been burnt. It's just carbon, basically. But one thing I've learned with anything to do with barbecue, there's a lot of right ways to do it, and there's a few wrong ways to do it. I've not had any adverse effects with reusing some small coals like that to just get a fire started. You know, what I generally do is to establish a coal bed, I'll just take some of this lump charcoal here. And I mean, I've got a chimney starter over here, but I don't really see much of a need in that thing anymore. I mean, if you want to use one, you can use it, but I'll take some of this and I'll put it right in there on that grate and use that to establish a coal bed, and then I put a little wood on it. Now, how I start my fires is you order anything off Amazon, a lot of times it'll come some of this brown paper. or you can use do like the old timers and use some newspaper. What I do with that, I take some just cheap spray oil. I guess you can use Pam or whatever you got. I get this up there where I buy a lot of my meat at the U.S. food chef store. I'll take that paper, put it in there on that grate, and I'll just spray a good coat of that oil on it, kind of saturate it. Now, if you cooked a brisket recently, like the day before or something, you got your butcher paper and it's all saturated with that beef tallow, throw that paper in there. That's a good thing to start fire with. But I'll put that in there, spray it with some of that oil, lump charcoal on top of it, and get it started with a torch. All right, this ain't gonna be some big 10-minute talk on how you're supposed to start a fire. No right way or wrong way. I suppose there's some wrong ways, but this is just how I do mine. Put that in there, saturated paper, and I just use a torch. Give this a little bit to get it going. That's all I do. Just let it take its course. We'll put a few pieces of this kindling wood in there. This is hardwood, it's not pine or anything. Got it in there. You don't want to put it in there so tight where you're going to choke it or anything, because you want those coals that are getting hot in there to get that wood burning. I use a little leaf blower. I kind of got that idea from Chud's Barbecue, but I'll go in there and get that, bring it out, and we'll get it going good. It helps cut down on all this smoke if you got neighbors around, and get the wood going. All right, get that going. I'm gonna show you this leaf blower, but I'm just gonna use some pecan chunks I have laying around here. I'm not gonna do any meat. I'm not gonna do a real hot fire. Keep it around 225 or so, something like that, just for a couple hours. I'm gonna be smoking some jalapenos and some Thai chilies. Jalapenos, the red ones, you smoke them, turns into chipotle peppers. So I'll do that so I can dry them out. Sorry for all that background noise. This Saturday, and I got neighbors like to get out and do stuff in the yard. Now I just bought this cheap doohickey right here on Amazon. It's got a little speed selector switch on it, and it's a variable trigger, so just a little bit. Get that stuff going. And that's extremely low. I can put a little more on it. Make it act like a blast furnace in there. I just try to keep it simple. Over here, and temperature's climbing a little bit. I'll adjust that vent slightly.